This is the survival guide for MCMC. We'll start off with how to survive at 9th grade. So I was a STEM student, so we had STEM 1 and STEM 2 with Miss Himes, so I'm not sure what the distribution of students are these days, but so my experience is really primarily going to apply to the STEM program. As for the current situation, I'm not really sure what the future is going to hold for next year, whether it be online courses or in person, hopefully in person, because it's honestly a better education. So that's another way the experience may differ, so it might not be 100% applicable. And regarding my experience in STEM, it's just important to have fun, and you're going to go through a bunch of stuff, diversify your knowledge in programming, aviation, manufacturing. So yeah, I think it can be a very valuable experience as long as you put the effort in and make sure, you're actually trying on the stuff, and make sure you don't waste time in it and try to figure out. It's meant to try and figure out what you actually want to do. So use the time well instead of just wasting it all. Next, balancing your dual enrollment classes. From my experience, it was easy to just first semester, pretty much everybody takes one class, I think, but try and find an easy one. I took Humanities 151 with Gaspaderic. It was very easy. I mean, easier than all the high school classes I've ever taken. So it just let me, ease the way into college, get familiar with the environment. So yeah. It's also towards the MTA, which I'll probably talk about a little bit later, which is, I think, should be the primary goal for everybody who's trying to go to in-state college after this, which I think should be stressed more. MTA is extremely valuable, especially if you're going to a college that will be way more expensive. You can save a lot of money here. Yeah, so first, like I said, I took Humanities 151, which was extremely easy. It allowed me to ease my way in. And then, take more difficult stuff later on. And like I said earlier, we'll talk about what classes I took and which classes I recommend. As for time management, I'm not so great at that myself. Just try not to procrastinate and get stuff done as soon as it gets assigned, pretty much. Obviously, you might have to distribute the time it takes to do something, but, I don't really have any good advice for that. Everybody's different for how to not procrastinate. You got to motivate yourself. In terms of communicating with professors, initially try to be professional, and then later you get more informal if, you're emailing a teacher over and over again and they're just responding with also one-word things. It happens at least a decent amount from my experience. It just depends on the professor. So initially, try to stay formal. You guys should learn how to write a formal email and formally approach a teacher. But after you get more specialized at college and start taking more and more classes with the same professor, you'll probably get more casual with them. But like I say here, it's better to be safe in the beginning. So now we'll move on. Those are just general tips. And now we'll move on to favorite classes, which should wrap everything up here. And I'll also go through some of the other questions here. So in 10th grade, I just took Humanities, which was awesome just to introduce me to college and stuff. In 11th grade, I took CIS 130 in the summer. And I took a few other, I think I took, let me check right here. Yeah, so in 11th grade, I took a few courses, but the main thing I can recommend is starting, if you're into computer science or anything like that, I would recommend trying out CIS 130. It's really nothing like the further classes. It's a requirement. Kind of got to get it over with. It's not too fun. But it does give you some fundamentals if you're not too familiar with computers. And I took communications with Dan Shaw, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but that was an awesome class I took. in 11th grade. I took a few other courses, but I would not really recommend them. As for 12th grade, again, I took more courses with Zachary Moore. He's awesome. He's like the best professor I've had so far. And yeah, he's just, sick. I took initially 130 in the spring of 11th grade with him. And then in 12th grade, I ended up taking 150 and 250, which are just basically the core foundational computer science courses that if you're into it, you should take 150, see if you like it. And then if you want to continue, take 250. I also took Betway in 12th grade, which was math 159. And I have, a mixed opinion about Betway. His class is fairly easy, probably the easiest math class you'll take, but I'm not sure how well it prepares you for future courses. It was an easy A though, I will give him that. And he does do a decent job at covering most of the topics, but he's very lenient on some stuff, which is detrimental to the education sometimes, in my opinion. And now 13th grade, which is, different. Like at the end of 12th grade, it was strange, the courses went to online. And yeah, I'm not really talking about my Spanish. I took Spanish, but I think there's only really one professor from what I know, and she was fine, but that learning a foreign language is very difficult, especially when you have to do it online. 13th grade now. I took Calc 1, which I can't even remember the guy's name, but if you're taking Calc online, it's almost entirely self-learning, so you got to be ready for that. It is quite brutal. But Kathleen Shepard she doesn't do lectures, which I don't understand why math professors don't do lectures. I think it would help a lot of students, instead of just leaving us to the book and the online course itself, and having to use online resources to learn stuff. But whatever. Kathleen Shepard, she's at least more helpful than the previous professor I took. So if you can take her for calc, that's who I would recommend. And then I've just been taking more with Zach Moore. So last semester, so first half 13th grade, I took Android app development and game programming, which were both fun courses. We made a Yahtzee app and I made a platformer game, which was pretty cool. And this time I'm taking I can't remember the course. Discrete structures and assembly language. So pretty higher level stuff. But I'm trying to get an associate's for computer science. So I can show on screen my 5-year plan really quick. That's kind of what I'm referencing here to kind of show my structure for the end for CIS if anybody's interested. Might be valuable. But yeah, so basically a lot of CIS courses towards the end down here, and it's going to allow me to get my associates, and I'll have my MTA completed. I didn't talk about all the MTA courses, but you should really focus on getting those done. Like humanities is important. Like I'm pretty sure almost all of my courses were effective towards the MTA besides like electronics. Yeah, I think that was like the only class I took just to take. And the rest of the stuff has either been towards the MTA, high school requirements, or an associate's degree. So effective planning will help you in the future. Let's see. The best professors I talked about, like Zach Moore, I think, if you're into computer science, will be, one of the best teachers to take. Anne Gospodaric, I think is how you say her name. She's quite good for like a first course. There's like learning assistance labs and writing fellows you can go to. which, I mean, for sometimes you go to the writing fellows, you're probably required to go. So it will kind of get you familiar with it. I personally never went for something that wasn't required, but I have not taken that many English courses or courses that required essays. So yeah. Yeah. And as for jobs, I mean, being a student and having a job and trying to stay, you just have to balance how many courses you're taking depending on how many hours you work, because else you're going to overload yourself and your grades are going to suffer, and it might sacrifice your ability to get into a college in the future. So I'd say just don't overwhelm yourself with school if you are planning to work or do anything extracurricular like full time. So yeah, I hope this was helpful, and yeah.